Imagine walking into a room where a mother and daughter can't even look each other in the eye. Accusations of betrayal, money stolen, a child caught in the middle, and a shocking demand for a DNA test threaten to tear them apart. Every word feels like a blade, every silence heavier than truth. Tonight, the family's darkest secrets are dragged into the light on Rea Tsotella. But will this confrontation heal a broken bond or unleash an even deeper war no one is ready for? Every day on Rea Tsotella, the stage fills with stories drawn straight from people's lives. Stories that carry real weight and leave no room for pretending. Today is no different. The air is tense even before the first words are spoken. A young woman insists she can no longer stand what is happening between her and her mother, and a stepfather's name surfaces in the storm. The mission of Rea Tsotella has always been to mend what is broken, to allow families who reach out in desperation to leave with at least a chance of peace. This time, the letters brought us to Bloemfontein, where another fractured household waits for their voices to be heard. The bishop introduces the case with his calm but pressing tone. He speaks of the girl who feels abandoned, who says her own mother cannot hear her pain, and how the presence of the stepfather seems to shape every argument. The decision is clear. It is time to sit down with them and find out what role he truly plays. The mother is invited in, greeted with courtesy. "Hello, Bishop," she says, her voice steady but guarded. He responds warmly, asking how she is. She replies she is fine, though her eyes reveal uncertainty. The bishop welcomes her as if into his home, reminding her that this platform is familiar. He asks why she has come today. She shrugs, almost lost, admitting she doesn't know. "Honestly, Bishop, I don't know," she repeats. He pushes gently, wondering aloud who may have brought her. She shakes her head again, saying she cannot say. When he hints that her child may be behind it, her hesitation deepens. The bishop presses, "Could it be your own child?" She concedes quietly that perhaps it is, and then the young woman is brought forward. The tension rises as the daughter sits across from her mother. The bishop urges them to speak directly, giving the daughter the floor. The mother protests softly, saying she doesn't even know what she has done, but he insists she must listen. The daughter inhales sharply, and then the flood comes. She calls her mother sister in frustration, confessing she despises what their relationship has become. "That Sunday," she says, "that was the moment it all broke. I couldn't even call you to say, 'Ma, I'm pregnant.' How could I, when we were like this?" The bishop leans forward, asking, "Are you telling her now that fear kept you from her?" The daughter nods, tears close. She explains how she turned instead to her friend Lesego, the only one she trusted in that moment. Lesego told her she was not okay, but what crushed her most was hearing that her mother had called Thulani to check up on her. "That," she spits out, "that hurt too much, because all I wanted was you to call me, to ask me, 'Your daughter, Nana, are you all right?' But you didn't." The bishop interjects, "Ma, do you hear her? She's saying she wanted your voice, not someone else's." The mother shifts uncomfortably. The daughter presses on, recalling their last meeting in a crowded taxi. When they got out, she wanted her mother to acknowledge the child she carried, the grandchild she knew her mother loved deeply. But her mother walked away, barely glancing back. The daughter says it felt deliberate, as if Thabiso's presence mattered more than her own blood. The bishop stops her, turning to the mother. "Did you hear that?" She says she felt invisible, ignored, as though her child did not exist. Silence falls heavy. Then the daughter admits her own faults. "I am not saying I never wronged you, Ma. I did, many times. But I am here because I want us to fix this." Her voice shakes but grows firm. "I have a child, your grandchild, and I know you love that child completely." She explains how everything spiraled during her mother's depression. When the baby was born, her mother was admitted to hospital, later struck by a stroke that left her broken. She returned home unwell, but whenever she held the baby, The spark of the mother she once knew seemed to flicker back. Yet, the daughter confesses she didn't want to bring her child into that home. She felt unwelcome, unwanted, unable to last even half an hour there. She feared rejection so much that she stayed away. Her voice drops as she recalls her mother's demand. To live peacefully at home, she must apologize to her stepfather. The bishop raises an eyebrow, his tone sharp. So this is the condition, Ma? That for her to belong in her own home, she must bow before the stepfather? The words hang, raw and cutting, as the audience shifts uncomfortably. The story is no longer just about mother and daughter. It has become a fight for place, for respect, for recognition inside a fractured family. The difference between us runs deep. When my baby was born, my mother was already drowning in depression. She was admitted to hospital and later suffered a stroke that left her weak and broken. When she returned home, she was far from herself. But something changed whenever she was near the child. Around the baby, my mother's true self, the one I knew since childhood, started to shine again. Bishop, do you understand that? At first, I refused to bring my baby into that house because it never felt like home to me. I couldn't stay more than 30 minutes without feeling unwanted. Every time I asked myself, what would happen if I showed up? What would I face? Then my mother came and told me, if I wanted peace in that house, I had to apologize to my stepfather. I fought with him, Bishop. And it wasn't a small fight. It was fierce, ugly, to the point where he told me to leave his house. Now, they keep demanding I apologize, but what am I apologizing for? I've already said I'm sorry over and over again, but no one tells me what exactly I did wrong. Even when my baby came into this world, after the fight with Tabiso, the condition for me to go home, my child's grandmother's home, was that I must apologize again. I asked, for what? I didn't want to expose my child to that kind of bitterness. I said to myself, I will not carry my baby into that toxic energy. But when I finally saw how much of an effect the child had on my mother, how her heart softened, I questioned myself again. The bishop leaned in. So why is there such constant fighting between you? Why can't you two speak directly? The daughter shook her head. That's the thing, Bishop. I try, but when I speak to her, she either answers briefly or ignores me afterward. And if I don't start the conversation, silence hangs forever. He turned to the mother. Ma, let's give you the floor. She nodded, gathering courage. Thank you. Maybe the reason I am here is this, Bishop. You are older. You are a parent, so you know. I watch Rea Tsotella often. I only want my child to tell the truth. She must be honest so that we can fix this. She sighed, the weight of years pressing down. I listened to every word she said. She admits she made mistakes. She admits she disrespected her stepfather. And that is part of why we are here. And she is right when she says I was depressed. I was, because of her and because of him, caught in the middle of their war. The bishop raised a brow. So you felt trapped, Ma, between loyalty to your daughter and loyalty to your partner? She nodded slowly. Yes, Bishop. I asked myself if I should defend my child or stand with my partner. But as parents, we always choose our children in the end, don't we? Still, how do you defend a child when you see she is wrong, even when she herself knows she is wrong? That's what I struggle with. I understand her pain, yes. And if she says she apologized, then I only wish her stepfather was here to hear it. Because as mothers, we pray every day. We ask God to forgive our sins and those of our children. We pray for our husbands too, asking him to soften their hearts, because truly, she is not his child. The bishop cut in sharply. And that difference, that fact she isn't his daughter, is it what fuels all this pain? The mother sighed. It matters, Bishop. If a child disrespects an elder, even if it's not her father, I cannot overlook it. She must tell the truth about what happened the very first day the trouble began. She showed attitude toward me and in front of my man. I wasn't there in that moment. I was in the bedroom. but I heard her afterward, talking back to him. He had already warned me that I needed to watch how she was changing. He saw it before I did. She continued, voice low but firm. I work shifts, Bishop. Sometimes mornings, sometimes nights. My partner doesn't live with us full time. He only comes on Fridays. So when he stays with us, he observes, he learns how the household runs, who behaves how. And he noticed, he told me, this girl, she's becoming difficult. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to see for myself. And yes, I saw it too. My man said he could not sit down with her because she's a young girl. He asked me to do it. He asked me to sit her down, talk to her, and show her what's right. To remind her, even if she is unhappy with her mother, she cannot behave like that. She must respect her elders. The bishop looked between them, tension thick in the air. So instead of peace, the house became a battlefield where apologies are demanded but never enough, where silence replaces love. And now the child, the grandchild, is the only bridge between you two. Is that what I am hearing? Both mother and daughter sat in silence, tears barely held back. The story was no longer only about past mistakes. It was about identity, respect, and the cost of belonging in a family divided. I am not here speaking of something I don't know or words that were never said. Bishop Makamu, let me explain clearly, because my mother insists I must speak the truth. And I want to, Bishop. I truly want to. Before the fight with Thabiso exploded, a lot had already been boiling underneath. I didn't just lose control out of nowhere. I had gone to my mother many times and said, Mom, people from the street say Thabiso has been saying this, saying that. In our area, Thabiso connected with some people originally from Edinburgh, the same place we come from. They live right near our house. I grew up around them, though I never considered them friends. Yet those very people came to me with stories about things Thabiso supposedly said about me. Bishop, I'm not someone who's always out there. I stay indoors. But still, I kept hearing things. What kind of things? The bishop pressed. I answered. He told people I left without cooking, that I spent too much time locked in the bedroom, that I irritate him. How could he run to outsiders with such things? He'd complained that when he was home, I was always gone. Those were the stories going around. Each time, I carried the hurt straight to my mother. Each time, her response was the same. Thabiso would never say that. Whenever Thabiso was confronted, he denied it, and that was the end of it. But Bishop, I am human. How many times can you hear hurtful words brushed aside before something inside you snaps? The day everything exploded, I will tell it honestly, here and now. Bishop, please listen. At home, we use pit toilets. Ours was damaged, dangerous to step on. Thabiso said he would close it, and at first he spoke respectfully. I went to him and begged, please don't close it. I use it to throw away my sanitary pads. His response cut me. Why don't you throw them where you really live? I was combing my hair when he said it, and I froze. I told him, Thabiso, I have periods every month. I can't throw pads at someone else's house. His answer? This is my house. No one tells me anything here. He had already bought out the man who used to own it and even paid for my mother, so the title deed was in his name. Over and over he repeated, this is my house. No one will tell me what to do. For so long I had to sit there hearing that. Her mother cut in sharply, her voice trembling. I will not speak with this child because she disrespected me and my man. Bishop, Mamase, my child, I'm repeating myself in front of everyone here. Speak the truth, the daughter whispered. Thank you, Mom. I am speaking the truth. Nothing but that. But her tone carried pain. It feels like you brought me here to shame me, to expose me. What I know, I know. If Thabiso were here, he would speak for himself and give his version. I wish he was sitting here now. The mother shook her head. Bishop, the fact that I keep quiet with her, yes, I had depression. But like I said, it was because of her and my man caught between the two of them. And I keep asking myself, when will my daughter humble herself, speak to her elders with respect? I never raised her to be rude. I raised a child who was polite, kept to herself, avoided gossip and street drama. Yet, when there is a man in the house, even if he is not her father, suddenly she changes. Suddenly she speaks differently. Bishop leaned forward. So you feel like the presence of your partner is what brought the shift? The mother nodded firmly. Exactly. So when she repeats rumors from the street, I refuse to take them seriously. Those whispers caused endless fights in our home. As for her saying I never wanted to sit and talk with her, let her speak the truth. I asked her many times, what are you doing that brings these things? Tell me so I can understand. She should also ask herself if I, as her mother, can sit with other people's daughters and counsel them. How can I fail to do that for my own? Why would I not sit down with my own blood? The bishop turned back to the daughter. You hear your mother. She says she tried, but she also says you changed. What do you say to that? Silence lingered for a moment, heavy with the weight of both hurt and love. The tension between mother and child was no longer only about Thabiso. It was about broken trust, wounded pride, and the aching question of when and why a respectful daughter became a stranger under the same roof. I truly wish my second-born were here right now to listen with her own ears. Out of your 3 children, Bishop asked, is she the one giving you all this trouble? Is she the only one making things difficult? The mother nodded without hesitation. Only her, Bishop Makamu. The other 2 give me no issues at all. The bishop leaned forward. So she is your firstborn? She answered softly, yes, my eldest. The child I thought would stand beside me, almost like a sister now, someone I love dearly. But today, she's the one who turned her back. I stopped talking to her, because when she had her child, like she said she wanted to include me, so I wouldn't fall into depression. Yet my partner questioned me. Your daughter is pregnant. I see you smiling. You're excited, like any grandmother would be. But what now? It's your grandchild. Won't you help her? And honestly, Bishop, I asked myself the very same question. She sighed deeply. I thought about the times I visited her while she lived with that boyfriend. Since the day she left home, she must not claim Thabiso forced her out. He never did. She mustn't say we chased her, because we didn't. The bishop turned toward her. Did she leave willingly? Before the daughter could respond, the mother raised her hand. Allow me to explain, Mamase. She continued, this child says I was busy on my phone. That isn't true, Bishop. I was in my bedroom when they started fighting. I don't even know what sparked it. I came out and said, you cannot speak to Thabiso that way. And she shot back. Geez, I knew it. What exactly she knew, I don't understand. But when I corrected her, she threw it in my face. I cannot tolerate such disrespect. She paused before recalling another incident. Later, we arranged a meeting. She came in while getting ready for work, unaware we had planned to talk. I had told my brother about the tension at home. My partner said, let us meet now so that in the future no one accuses me of something I never did, or claims I abused her after I'm gone. Because with the other 2 children, I have no problem. Only her. The bishop raised his hand. We will encourage your daughter to respect you, but equally, you must also respect her. The mother's voice rose. Bishop, how have I not respected her? Please, let me explain. You brought your boyfriend into their home, the bishop said carefully. Her eyes hardened. And now she brings her child into my house, a child with a boy who mistreated her, even laid hands on her. Bishop, if you saw a man beating your daughter, would that bring you joy? She would come crying to me about him, the same man she still calls her boyfriend. I told her clearly, this boy is not right for you. Still, they stayed together until God gave them a child. Thabiso told me the baby would come whether I liked it or not, and that I must accept my grandchild. He said, help her. She's your daughter. And Bishop, that is the truth. My man didn't like it at first, but later he made peace with it. He told me to support her, and I did. She leaned forward now, her voice shaking. As we sat down, I told her, "Mama say, we must meet this boy's family. It doesn't matter if you already live with them. We must follow tradition." But she snapped, "Mom, what do you want?" "You should know Mokete won't pay damages." Bishop raised his brows. Did she really say that? The daughter turned her face while the mother insisted. "Yes, Bishop, she said those words." She continued, "I asked her for Mokete's sister's phone numbers. She looked at me and said, 'Why do you want Mokete's sister's numbers?' Everything that concerned her and the child, she insisted must go through her first." I asked, "Mama say, what do you mean by that?" My anger boiled. I grabbed my phone and called my aunt. I told her, "Please, speak to Mama say, because I don't understand this attitude. Why is she answering me like this?" Before I could even approach Mokete's family, my own child blocked me. But Bishop, we were raised in a way where certain traditions weren't followed for us, and I don't want that repeated with her. I want to do things the proper way, to honor our culture. That was all I wanted. I said what I really wanted was to sit down with Mokete's sister, to hear directly how their family handles such matters. The baby is already 3 months old, yet their side has stayed silent. No word, no effort. As parents, it feels like we must step forward first. Bishop asked if I had spoken to the sister already. I answered, "No, not yet. She only came once, Bishop, just once." Then he pressed me, wanting to know, where did I hear that they had no intention of paying? I told him it came from her own mouth. She is the one who told me, and she has a way of throwing blame on me even when I have done nothing. She accuses, but she also sits down with me and says, "Mama, I can see Mokete has changed. He does this and that." And I told her, when a boy changes like that, it's usually because he's already learned too much about you. That's why I wanted the sister's number, to step in as her mother and confront his people, his aunts, brothers, uncles, face to face. But she snapped back, "Mom, you weren't there when my uncles went to Mokete's home. They already said he mustn't rush, and I said they were wrong to speak that way. They were making a mistake, and I wasn't afraid to say so. When she eventually brought the baby, I accepted it. I took it in. I told her, 'Mama say, you need to support me because I'm not working.' But in truth, I wasn't asking her for the money. I was demanding it from that boy because he hasn't given anything for her upkeep. That's the reality." Later, I asked again, "Mama say, I want to meet Mokete's sister." And she replied, "Mom, I told you. What do you want from her? If you want to speak with his sister, you must speak through me. I'll pass the message. Tell me, Bishop, how is a parent supposed to feel when their own child blocks them like that? When she instantly insists, she'll filter the conversation. She knows perfectly well how that family operates, how they respond. Why wouldn't she let me try? Why shut me out from speaking with Mokete's people directly?" Bishop leaned in and said, "So what you're saying is she refused you? She stood between you and them?" And I said, "Exactly, Bishop. That's what hurts me the most." Then she turned around and said she doesn't want people claiming she disrespected her mother. Now she demands I tell the truth, but I'm also asking her to speak fully, not half the story, not cutting details. She shouldn't twist it, Bishop. That's all I'm asking. Then came another turn when the baby was born. Mokete himself said he wanted a DNA test. Yes, Bishop, he did. And my own mother asked me why he wanted it. So I told her, I'm not hiding it. I told her. She asked me again, why would Mokete demand such a thing? And I said, let him do it then. Let him waste his money if he must. He's been putting money aside for this test. And I even told his relatives he was planning it. His sister wants everything done properly, step by step. Bishop raised his eyebrows. So the family wasn't against you, it was Mokete alone? And I nodded, yes, Bishop. When Mom says she came once, it's true. While Mom was lying in the hospital, Moketi's family even paid for my child's haircut. That was their contribution. But beyond that, the DNA test remains. Why does he want it? Only he can answer that, Bishop. It's not his family pushing, it's him. His relatives even said, if you feel like wasting your money, then go ahead. I explained to Mom that we couldn't sit down for talks because the main person, the father himself, was refusing until he had that DNA test done. That's what I said. I told her, no matter what you try with his sister, in the end, it's Moketi's call, and nobody else's. And then she threw it back at me. So are we going to have a meeting or not? And I said, that's exactly what I told you. It's up to him. She just murmured, That's where our fights began. And in the end, we fought over money. Yes, Bishop. A mere R240. Can you imagine? Mom left me inside the house while her people were sitting in the living room. I took my child, just as I had said I would. They were all there, watching. And I stood in front of them and said, Mamase, give me my money. And she looked me in the eye and said she didn't have it. That's where the wound deepened, Bishop. That's the truth of what happened.